Alright, since I did a James O'Barr video previously, I wanted to do another one. So I just got Caliber Presents 2 and 3. I don't have 1 because I'm not planning on spending like $1,000 on it or whatever crazy amount of money it goes for. But I do have 2 and 3, and I want to take a look at James O'Barr's artwork. But I also want to take a look at Tim Vigil's artwork. Um, I don't really care about the rest of it. Um, sorry to, I think it's Vince Locke. First off, James O'Barr. Man, uh, what year was this? Was it 89? So it was 89. So this, I mean, I guess The Crow was coming out at this time, but I can't tell if this was this. I can't tell if he had these stories for a while and then he put them out, or if this came out. I don't know the timeline in comparison to The Crow, but man, James O'Barr, unbelievable. And I actually read the story because I try to read as much of James O'Barr as I possibly can and enjoy the art because I am a huge James O'Barr fan. And the story is actually really interesting, and thankfully it's only like 8 pages, and you don't have to read much. So basically, our story is we have this guy from the future, and he's a or let me try that again. We have a guy from the past, and he's a vampire, and he's in modern time, and he wants to. I guess he turned into a vampire when he was like at a young age. Um, he wants to grow a little older, so he's 12, and he wants to be 19 or 20. So he gives this guy his one of his teeth, and then the guy says, "Okay, you're gonna be or you're gonna be mortal again for a couple years, and then you'll come back, and then we'll make you immortal again, like you were." And then, spoiler alert. Well, we'll get there, but basically he gets hit by a truck as he goes out. But story is not really what I'm interested in. What I'm really interested in is the artwork. And man, there's something about James O'Barr's ability to draw clothes or drapery that is just amazing. I mean his and also his ink work. I mean if you look at this, I mean you just straight black ink and then he adds the white to kind of give it that wet feel of rain. I still think James O'Barr draws the best rain possibly ever in comics and maybe the best drapery I've ever seen. But then you have like imperfections like this with the face, but I feel like it's like a nod to Barry Windsor Smith. Now I did learn that very recently that he knew Von Bode or Von Bode, and which is pretty interesting because I think it was like one of his mentors or something. I'm not a big Von Bode fan, but I guess James O'Barr is. So, anyways, man, this panel. I mean, look at that panel and his use of blacks and whites. Again, I mean, I'm a huge Frank Miller fan, and I think his use of blacks and whites are amazing in Sin City, but I don't think they even come close to this. It's just James O'Barr knew his way around, you know, just ink, pen and ink. This is a really interesting panel too. I mean, you have this drawing next to this picture that clearly he'd gotten probably out of a book or something like that. But yeah, man. So he was a Nazi, and then he went to war in Cambodia. Man, look at that. Look at that artwork. Fucking unbelievable. And the cross hatching. The other thing I noticed about this is I don't see much zipatone. That might be zip. That's probably zipatone. Um, but he uses his pen a lot in this. A lot of hatching. Man, unbelievable. Look at that. Anyways, and then we'll go to Tim Vigil. because I want to take a look at Tim Vigil, and then we'll go back to James O'Barr again. So, man, Tim Vigil. I talk about how Barry Windsor Smith is probably one of my favorite anatomical artists. Tim Vigil is up there as well. And, man, look at that. It reminds me so much of Conan. He had to have been a Barry Windsor Smith fan. He had to have been. There's no way he doesn't. And Tim Vigil draws some of the best women I've ever seen. Very muscular, like a lot of emphasis put on the muscle. Because I mean the muscle. The guy knows how to draw muscles. I mean he's unbelievable at it. We got some zipatone there. Got some cross hatching there. His use of blacks, unbelievable, and just, man. And I mean, look at this stuff. It's just otherworldly. It's amazing. All right, so I'm gonna go on to look at this one last. I usually don't keep my comics. I try not to keep them in bags and boards, but sometimes I do because I like to just take them out very quickly and be able to go, okay, I want to look at this. So now we have this cover. This is a fucking cool cover. Way cooler than this cover. And this cover's cool. But man, this cover, unbelievable. So in this book, James O'Barr refers to himself as Barbed Wire Halo Studios. We know it's James O'Barr. I mean, look at that artwork. Are you going to tell me that it's not James O'Barr? You can tell right by the faces. I don't know why he did it. I don't know if he just wanted to have his own comic book company name or if he didn't want to be his. I don't honestly know why, but yeah. Man. So in this book you get a couple more pages. I mean, look at that. Look at that tank. Man. And you got the zipatone over it. Man, and darker. I don't know if that's marker or zip. I don't know. But yeah, man. Another guy that just knows how to draw anatomy very well. I probably already said that in the previous James O'Barr or previous Caliber Presents, but man, just amazing. So this character's name is Danzig, I believe. I mean, look at the emotion. I love the way he draws eyes, you know. That just reminds me so much of Barry Windsor Smith. Yeah, great explosion, great black and white work. Not as, and then you kind of get here, and this is pretty cool, but I think the black and white work in this one is slightly better, but then again, I don't know. I love that panel. That panel is amazing. I mean, the motion and the anatomy. Man. It's like I believe it's like a Terminator-like character. I love that. I love the movement of the black and then the gray slowly starts to come in and then you have this finished piece. Very cool. I love the way that, man, those faces. Kind of looks like James O'Barr a little bit. I love the way he draws that. Man. They knew who their best artist was because best artists were because then they go right over to Tim Vigil again, which is great because we don't have to look at this stuff. Man, I love that drawing. I love the entire thing, but I love that figure. Man, look at that. Some Kirby crackle. It looks like. Feels like some Kirby crackle. Very cool. The black coming into the hatching. Man, how can you not get inspired by this? How can you not want to draw from looking at this? I mean, that water coming up. That anatomy is great. Oh man, look at that. Look at that gesture, that pose. Very cool. I'm so happy I picked these up because I don't have any Tim Vigil work. I know he's a great artist, and I've known he's a great artist, but I did not have any Tim Vigil work. And now I have it, and I'm very excited. I'll take a quick look through. We're only at 10 minutes. I'll take a quick look through, just like very quickly, at some other stuff. I'm not into it as much as I'm into, James O'Barr and Tim Vigil, but we'll just take a quick look, see if there's anything really cool in here. I mean, the artwork's not bad. It's very, very good. It just doesn't move me as much as O'Barr and Vigil do. That's a very good anatomical drawing. That seems almost like pencil. Doesn't feel like there's, unless it's the paper. That back anatomy is very difficult to draw, and there's not many people who can do it very well. I'm not seeing anything that's blowing me away at this point. Anyways, yeah. Very cool. That face is very interesting. Not much, no words, in fact. Very interesting. Very, very interesting comic. Alright, and then we'll look at the other one real quick, because we didn't get to look at, let's see. That's a cool, I dig that actually. That's, the anatomy on that's very good. I think it's the same person who did that book that I was just looking at, or the story I was just looking at. I love how that zipatone comes in like green. I don't know if it's coming in for you guys, but yeah, you can definitely tell that zipatone. I mean, the anatomy is really good. We went through that already. I mean, these guys were really, really good. They were really great artists. Vincent Locke. Man, look at that. That's a great panel. Sorry, I'm like trying to look over, and the noodling over there is really great. I mean, yeah, I mean it's not, it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. Moontrap. Yeah, I mean the artwork's not bad. It's a cool robot thing. Yeah. Alright, I dig that. That's pretty cool. So yeah. Barbed Wire Halo Studios, or James O'Barr. Man, Caliber Presents was awesome. I don't know if it's as good as Heavy Metal. I don't think it is, but it's definitely interesting, and I dig it. So, do I want to get more Caliber Presents? Not really, but I definitely want to get as much James O'Barr stuff as I possibly can. I have another James O'Barr book on the way, and I think when I get that, I'll probably do another James O'Barr video. And then my goal is to hopefully do an actual real, like an actual good video on the Crow. I think I want to do like an in-depth, not like an overview like this, like an actual I guess like a video essay with like actual editing and stuff like that. Eventually, I do want to do that. And there's another book that I want to do that on, but I definitely think that I want my first book that I do like a very in-depth, you know, heavy editing video is going to be on The Crow because I mean that book is absolutely life-changing. So, um, yeah. So I got more James O'Barr stuff coming, and eventually I'm probably going to do a in-depth video on The Crow. Not anything like the videos I'm doing right now, but yeah. So Caliber presents. I get a good deal on these too. All right.